announced that Usha Vance has filed for divorce from her husband, JD Vance.
This isn't just political gossip. It's personal, public, and unraveling in real time. The marriage of JD and Usha Vance, once seen as a symbol of intellect and ambition, now fuels a steady fire of speculation.
I think JD made this clear in his own response. It is hurtful and it is sad. And
whispers of divorce have turned into trending threads, fueled by awkward glances, tense smiles, and viral footage that speaks louder than any official statement.
And yeah, Usha's more sophisticated in the ways of the world, but I think what sort of unites them is, one, they're very tough.
From Washington events to failed diplomatic gestures, Usha's demeanor has people asking, is this a woman trapped in a performance or a partner losing patience? The rumors are growing, and what we've seen in public may only hint at what's hidden in private. Public cracks, the Kennedy Center incident. It was supposed to be a night of art and elegance. In mid-March 2025, JD and Usha Vance attended a National Symphony Orchestra concert at the Kennedy Center, a high-profile event frequented by politicians and power couples alike. But what unfolded was anything but graceful. As the couple entered, the audience's reaction turned icy. What began as murmurs quickly escalated into a wave of audible boos aimed squarely at the vice president. JD, perhaps trying to play it cool, took a casual sip from his drink and smirked. But it was Usha's reaction that captured the internet's attention. Her lips pursed tightly, her shoulders stiffened. For a moment, she froze in discomfort as cameras clicked and whispers swirled. One post on X summed up the moment with brutal precision. The boos were so loud that even his wife couldn't hide her embarrassment. That sentiment echoed across social media, where clips of Usha's reaction went viral within hours. Viewers pointed out how she seemed disconnected from her husband's attempts to brush it off, standing beside him, but not exactly with him. In political marriages, public unity is often part of the performance. But here, the tension didn't need words. It was written across her face. Commentators noted the contrast between JD's dismissive demeanor and Usha's silent discomfort. Some questioned whether this was a one-off moment or a glimpse into a deeper fracture. What made it more damning was the timing. The incident came at a moment when JD Vance's public approval was already taking a hit, and his alignment with controversial figures wasn't helping. But instead of standing strong as a couple, their dynamic felt off-kilter, one half confident in the spotlight, the other shrinking from it. That single evening sparked renewed scrutiny, and for many watching, it was no longer about politics. It was about whether something was cracking beneath the surface of their marriage. Shall we continue to the next section? Was Usha offended? Just weeks before the Kennedy Center incident, JD Vance found himself defending a scandal that struck particularly close to home, both politically and personally. One of the employees at Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency had been exposed for making blatantly racist remarks about Indian people.
Vice President JD Vance is under fire for defending a Doge employee who posted racist comments about Indians.
The backlash was swift, and the employee resigned. But the story didn't end there. In a move that shocked many, Musk rehired the individual. And JD Vance, now deeply tied to Musk's political experiments, stepped up to defend the decision. He posted on X, "I obviously disagree with some of the employee's posts, but I don't think stupid social media activity should ruin a kid's life. So I say bring him back." That statement ignited a firestorm, but not just in the media. People began wondering what Usha Vance thought. As an Indian-American woman, how could she possibly feel comfortable with her husband brushing off racism against her own community as stupid social media activity? There were no public comments from Usha, no clarifications, no defense. And that silence only deepened the speculation. Was she quietly furious? Did she feel betrayed? Or was she simply used to staying silent while her husband played the political game? The irony wasn't lost on observers. JD Vance had once campaigned as a voice for decency, for standing up to elites. Yet here he was, minimizing racism to maintain political alliances. Critics called it tone-deaf. Supporters tried to reframe it as pragmatic, but none of that addressed the emotional rift it might have caused at home. In relationships, especially public ones, optics matter, and in this case, the optics were awful. Usha, again, said nothing, but her silence felt louder than JD's tweet. To many, it wasn't just a political misstep. It was a sign of something deeper, a disconnect between values, between identities, maybe even between two people who once promised to understand each other. Factory visit. Fallout. The Usha has to smile moment. Just days after the Kennedy Center embarrassment, JD and Usha Vance appeared together again, this time in Stish, Michigan, visiting a factory. On the surface, it was a standard PR move. Politicians touring job sites, shaking hands, flashing rehearsed smiles. But one offhand comment turned a routine visit into a social media spectacle. Standing in front of the press, JD joked, "Anything that I say, no matter how crazy, Usha has to smile and laugh and celebrate it." He laughed. The crowd chuckled. And Usha? She smiled and laughed, right on cue. But it didn't land the way JD probably intended. Within hours, the moment was clipped and reposted with captions like, "Blink twice if you're being held hostage." It wasn't just the awkward phrasing, it was the implication that she had no choice. That part of her role was to publicly support him, no matter how absurd or uncomfortable the situation. Critics called it cringeworthy. Others called it revealing. Because even though Usha followed the script, smiling and nodding, her eyes told a different story. That split second of hesitation, that forced smile, gave people pause. Was it really a joke? Or was JD saying the quiet part out loud? It's moments like these, seemingly small, that shape public perception. The comment painted a picture of a woman stuck in performance mode, whether she wanted to be or not, and it reinforced what many were already suspecting, that Usha's public appearances were more duty than desire. In a world where every blink is analyzed, every smile dissected, even a light-hearted remark can feel like a red flag. Greenland disaster. From diplomat to tag-along. By late March 2025, the JD and Usha Vance saga took a strange diplomatic turn, one that would only add fuel to the swirling rumors. President Donald Trump, still determined to pursue his bizarre dream of acquiring Greenland for the United States, had planned a so-called goodwill mission. And who better to send than the soft-spoken, composed Usha Vance? It was a strategic move. Usha, with her measured presence and international background, was meant to calm tensions and build bridges. The people of Greenland were already skeptical of U.S. intentions, but a solo visit from the vice president's wife was seen, at least by the White House, as a step in the right direction. But then JD Vance made a surprise announcement. There was so much excitement around Usha's visit to Greenland this Friday, he posted on X, that I decided I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself. So I'm going to join her. To many, it read less like support and more like interference. The backlash was immediate. Greenlanders, already unimpressed by America's land-grabbing rhetoric, were incensed. A viral image showed a red hat styled like MAGA gear that read, "Make America Go Away." Another bluntly stated, "You are not welcome." With JD tagging along, the already tense trip was cut short. All the cultural and diplomatic stops Usha had planned were scrapped. Instead, the couple spent their entire brief stay tucked away at Pitafik Space Base, a U.S. military facility far removed from the public. Observers noted what the optics suggested, that JD didn't trust his wife to handle the trip on her own. Or worse, that he couldn't let her take center stage without inserting himself. What could have been a moment for Usha to shine, perhaps even regain some personal dignity after weeks of awkward headlines, turned into yet another episode in the ongoing narrative of control, discomfort, and misalignment. For some, this was the clearest sign yet that Usha Vance's role had been quietly downgraded from partner to prop. The story was no longer just about a failing political PR strategy. It was about a relationship unraveling in the glare of the global spotlight. Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you. Social media and the origins of the divorce rumors. 300 words. Long before the Greenland debacle or the Kennedy Center drama, the whispers had already started online. The idea that Usha Vance might be unhappy in her marriage wasn't born out of an official statement or a leaked document. It came from TikTok. During the 2024 election season, A now viral TikTok video claimed that JD and Usha Vance were quietly living separate lives. The video offered no hard evidence, just body language analysis, clips from public appearances, and a dramatic voiceover suggesting Usha looked trapped. It was the kind of content meant to entertain, not inform, but people took it seriously. The creator later admitted that the story was fictional, just a fun take on political drama. Yet that didn't matter. Once the rumor was out there, it grew legs. Other users began dissecting old photos and speeches. Reddit threads popped up. Ex-users turned Usha's expressions into memes. The speculation snowballed. What made it stick wasn't the original claim. It was the consistency of awkward public moments that seemed to reinforce it. The strained smiles, the clipped responses, the apparent emotional gap. Every new appearance added another puzzle piece to the narrative that maybe, just maybe, Usha Vance wasn't in this marriage by choice anymore, but by obligation. In the digital age, rumors don't need facts to feel real. They just need momentum. And when your every move is filmed, clipped, and filtered through public opinion, a simple glance can become a headline. JD and Usha never directly addressed the rumor. That silence only made people more curious, more suspicious. By the time March 2025 rolled around, the divorce theory was no longer fringe. It was mainstream, and each public misstep only made it harder to dismiss. Analyzing the patterns, missteps or marital trouble. It's easy to dismiss one awkward smile, one poorly timed joke, or one uncomfortable photo. But when they keep piling up, people start to look deeper. And in the case of JD and Usha Vance, the pattern is what has made the public so suspicious. Over the course of just a few months, a string of moments has painted a troubling picture. Usha looking visibly uncomfortable at the Kennedy Center. Her husband brushed off racism against Indians, her community, as stupid social media activity. A joke about her being obligated to laugh at whatever he says. And the Greenland trip that should have empowered her, but ended up sidelining her.
Vice President JD Vance will join his family on a trip to Greenland tomorrow. It's a place President Trump has said as recently as yesterday.
Individually, these may be chalked up to political life or poor media training, but together they start to resemble something more. An imbalance of power, a strained partnership, and possibly emotional withdrawal. What people are reacting to isn't just political awkwardness, it's the apparent erasure of Usha's agency. She rarely speaks publicly. She doesn't post on social media, and when she appears in public, it's often with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Relationship experts have weighed in on similar dynamics before. When one partner consistently oversteps, overspeaks, or overshadows the other, resentment builds. Add public scrutiny to the mix, and those cracks become chasms. For the Vances, the scrutiny isn't just about their politics. It's about their marriage as a performance that increasingly appears to be falling apart in plain sight. Whether these are just a series of missteps or signs of genuine marital strain, one thing is clear: the public has noticed the disconnect, and they're not looking away. Silence from Usha. Dignified or distant, through every stumble, scandal, and side-eye moment, one thing has remained constant: Usha Vance's silence. She has not addressed the rumors. She hasn't posted cryptic quotes or made emotional speeches. No interviews, no rebuttals. Just a quiet, composed presence at her husband's side, or slightly behind him. To some, that silence is a mark of dignity, a refusal to dignify gossip with a response. It fits the image of a woman who values privacy, who believes that not everything needs to be broadcast or explained. It's a position many admire, especially in a world where oversharing is the norm. But to others, the silence feels like distance. When Usha appears with JD, it often seems more like an obligation than a choice. Her expressions, her body language, and her lack of spontaneous interaction, all these subtle signs, point to a woman deeply disengaged. People have even speculated that she's going through the motions of a political marriage she no longer believes in. Of course, Usha may simply be someone who hates the spotlight. She was never a fame seeker. She's a Yale-educated lawyer with her own impressive background. She never needed JD's platform to shine. But now, more than ever, the question lingers. Why doesn't she speak? Is she avoiding the fire? Or has she lost her voice inside it? The lack of clarity has created a vacuum. And vacuums in today's media landscape don't stay empty for long. They get filled with speculation, satire, even sympathy. Her silence has become part of the narrative, a powerful absence that says more than any press release ever could. Whether it's strategic restraint or silent resignation, Usha's quiet has become one of the loudest elements of this ongoing story. In politics, appearances are everything, but sometimes they reveal more than they conceal. JD and Usha Vance have become unlikely fixtures in a national drama that goes far beyond policy and headlines. Their every move is scrutinized, not just as political figures, but as a couple navigating power, expectation, and perhaps disillusionment. What began as a TikTok rumor has now become a lens through which millions interpret body language, silence, and subtle discomfort. Maybe there's nothing wrong at all. Maybe Usha is just private, and JD is just awkward in public. Or maybe what we're witnessing is a partnership strained under the weight of ambition and attention. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. People are no longer watching JD Vance alone. They're watching Usha, watching her reactions, her stillness, her smile, and wondering if the quiet between them speaks louder than any official statement ever could.